Some say as long as imperfect humans lead religious organizations, there will be hurt and pain. But why are we not learning from history's mistakes? Our next guest might have some answers. He is part of the ancient Coptic church out of Egypt. Father Pishoy is a priest here in Canada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Father Pishoy. Now, how can we handle being hurt by the church and not see it as being hurt by God?
I think it's really important to acknowledge that hurt does exist and that God always has our best interest. But as human beings, we are all fallible and we have our faults and mistakes. And unfortunately, this projects in our ministry once we deal with one another as human beings.
How do traditional or Orthodox churches look at this issue of church hurt, and how open are they when it comes to dealing with this?
I think for the ancient church, we've been hurt so much throughout history. The Coptic church has always been a persecuted church from so many different communities around the world. And I think it's persecution that made us so much stronger and resilient. Knowing that God himself, Jesus himself, has suffered in the flesh, and his purpose was to save others. So we see that through hurt, God prepares us to be resilient and to witness to our faith and look at it as a blessing or as a crown coming to us from heaven.
Through the experience comes strength. Your church is the first multicultural missionary Coptic church in North America. How do you work through the differences among such a diverse congregation?
I think this is one of the biggest challenges for an ethnic community living abroad in the diaspora, is how to adapt to a multicultural context. I think at the core of every human being, regardless of our own ethnicity or cultural background, there's a yearning for God. There's a space where we are seeking God deep down in our souls. And if we can provide a platform for individuals from so many different backgrounds and ethnicities, I think once we get through the skin of the color or the cultural background and norms, we find that we are all similar to each other, having that yearning for the Creator who loves us dearly.
One quick question about young people. We see a lot of young people leaving the church. What does the conversation look like with you and young people in your church that might be questioning why they should go to church?
We're very thankful to have a very vibrant young community in the Coptic Orthodox Church who participate and find themselves. I think for the millennials, they need to find themselves in the church, to have a role. Sometimes church is just for people who are advanced in age, already established in their positions in the church. But young people need to express their talents and their gifts, and they need to feel also that they're contributing to the ministry, to the outreach, to care for the community outside the four walls of the church. So I feel once they find an authentic community, a transparent community, they come and they enjoy that multicultural but also multi-generational fellowship that exists in the church.
A place to belong. Thank you so much, Father Pishoy of St. Maurice and St. Verena Coptic Orthodox Church. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Maggie, for having me.